What's up, ultra happy people? I am your host, ultra runner and coach, Tania, and your magnificent co-host, Andy.
Hey.
Yay! How's everyone doing? How are you doing? What's happening? We're back to our normal routine of weekly episodes. It's not going to last too long, but it's quite fun to be back here regularly.
Yep. I'm still, do you know what, right? After, what series and what episode are we on? I can't even remember now.
3.
And we're still asking everyone if they're okay.
How you doing? You know what? If I've listened to myself and I'm like, how you doing? I will be in my head will be like, yeah, I'll be great. I'm great. How are you?
It's just you, me, and Merengita.
And the other 10 people live in my head.
I know. Although, having said that, big shout out to everybody again. We just got another notification through that we're 15,000 downloads.
Yeah, something like that.
So thank you very much,
We haven't bored you
everybody.
yet. That's great.
Thank you for putting up with our nonsense.
We
Appreciate it.
have, again, lots to talk about today. We have our usual facts by Andy and the last grueling stage of my 250-kilometer journey through Jordan. It's a 90-kilometer pure grit. Also, we have some Antarctica preparations. We were able to test the gear at the snow park here in Dubai, and even we met the penguins living in the desert. How wild was that? It was a quite fun experience that we want to share with you, and but it made me realize how so not ready I am for this cold extreme temperature.
And it was only -4, not -30.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as well. So let's get cracking first with, obviously, facts by Andy.
Dun, 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 dun. Right, actually, this week, and I don't actually have my old man glasses with me, but
Old
actually
man
this
problems.
one, I only have 3 facts.
Okay, it'll be
Right,
fast.
however, this is one that I think that you maybe spend a bit of time on talking about, because I
Alright,
think
I'm
this is all
excited.
going to be something close
I never
to
know
your
what
heart.
he's going to come up with, so it's always a
Always
surprise.
put her on the spot. It's just to really check and see if she knows what she's talking about.
Right.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about feet and bones.
Oh, talking about the pain in my feet.
Yeah.
All these, it has been the
Well-
highlight of the season. So that's very, very ad hoc.
Do you know what, right? See, as I'm going through my running journey, I'm starting to find... The reason that the facts kind of come up, right, is because I was out running last week.
Oh, we lost one medal.
Lost a medal. I was out running last week and I came back, and for the first time I felt a bit of a pain in my foot.
Oh,
And
I love this.
I felt a wee bit of a pain in my knee the other
Not
day.
that
at the
you were
gym.
in pain, but that you were like discovered in weird
Aye,
things.
Thanks, weirdo. But I noticed that these things happen. I thought I'm going to go and have a read about it.
Oh, I like it.
And this is how the facts come about.
Oh,
So there you go.
interesting. I never know. So
Okay. So here we go. Feet and bones I want to talk about today. So what are the most common problems with runners' feet? Wait a second. Each foot is made up of 28 bones, 30 joints, and more than 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments, and one of the most complex structures in the body.
it's correct.
And it is generally suggested for any long distance runners that strength work and stretching should be done on their feet due to the mechanics of the foot.
Agree.
This, believe it or not, can reduce injury by up to 30% by creating stability.
I agree.
However, this is normally neglected.
Yeah.
So, I want to
True.
put this over to you a little bit, because it says that most runners actually neglect this, but I see you training your feet.
I do.
So-
and it was maybe at the beginning I didn't, and then I learned this on the way. And also I learned about shoes and all that, what we've spoken about.
Well, I'm going to come on to that.
All right. So let's just talk about the strengthening. So at the beginning, when I started running long distances, I realized that my feet were very sore. And again, like you just did, you do a little bit of research, and then I came up with this information, and I started just putting a little bit of footwork. And it's not how, and you guys can do it. There is so much information out there, and it doesn't need to be long or brutal. It just needs to be like 10, 15 minutes. I do it usually when we're watching TV. And there is some, if you don't want to invest in buying things, you can do, there's a couple of exercises you can do on your own in your house, even with a towel. And also I would recommend a lot in walking barefooted, like just without any like big shoes, because obviously I think we are using big shoes and big all our shoes that we use obviously have a big, like, what's the name, like cushion, right? And that makes our feet very lazy and our muscles lazy. So we should work them out in the sense of, yes, a couple of movements and stretches, but also walking barefoot has an amazing power of healing and stretching. So there's also some shoes that I use called Bibo Barefoot, but I know there's other brands that I use for walking barefooted, or just walk barefooted if you can as well.
I think it would be good that, when we do the YouTube upload, is you use a plantar beam, don't you?
Yeah, I used to have a plantar beam in Glasgow. Yeah. And that's really good. Again, but if you don't want to invest in one, there's other exercises you can do. Just literally Google feet exercises. And there is a couple of good ones in there. And again, just do it maybe at the beginning. I'm going to say, when I started training my feet, I think I did it the first day and my feet were so sore for 3 or 4 days. Like, it's a muscle, right? And that makes you realize how neglected it was.
Yeah. But now it's quite funny. Tania actually, as part of her exercises, pick things up with foot.
Yeah. So I throw
Which
things and I'm like a half monkey.
It's a bit like a chimpanzee, to be fair, but she's picking up things with her feet now, and she finds that as part of her exercising.
And they've been getting so, like, my grip, right, of your toes, like picking up things, it gets so strong now. But yeah, you have to work them out. So yeah, definitely I would recommend it.
So on the back of that, what do you think is the most common injury in feet?
Come on. Plantar fasciitis.
Oh my God, you actually got the whole word right as well.
Of course, because all my athletes, not all of them, but I hear it a lot. And it's something that all my athletes know about, we all fear about. And that is like, yeah, you want to stay away from that.
Well, plantar fasciitis is a painful condition that causes inflammation of the plantar fascia. According to Andrew Schneider, DPM certified podiatrist, the plantar fasciitis attaches to the heel bone and extends across the bottom of the foot, which with each step it pulls on the heel, and significant repetition.
Painful.
Such as with running may cause it to become inflamed.
Irritated,
and actually, they reckon that you walk 100,000 miles, right, on anybody that just walks over the course of their lifetime, but it would be about 300,000 miles if you're a runner.
Yeah.
So it just shows you how that's overworked.
Actually, with all the issue that I was going through with my trainers and my feet hurting so much, I had in the back of my head, I hope I'm not injuring that or having like a problem of the fasciitis later after the race, because I was very scared of that, because it's a condition that takes months. And one of the things to heal it, apart from strengthening all your muscle, or your legs muscle, is also strengthening your feet. So and also because I was walking has a different mechanic than running. So obviously, because I was walking, your heel strikes first, and then all the other part of your foot. When you run, you usually land in the middle front part of your foot and then kick back. So the mechanics of running and against walking, it was different. So I was definitely feeling that strike heel that you were talking about every time I was walking, because I was walking more than other days or other races. So I was scared of that happening. Well, definitely, it's a risk.
The study actually showed as well that, see, if you are a flat-footed person, you are probably about 60 to 70% more chance to get it. However, runners with higher arches tend to have it as well, but a bit later on in the game, which is strange. But it all goes back, and Andrew, I'm going to call him Andrew, says that by stretching, which is why I started off with that, by stretching and actually working your feet and doing those exercises, it greatly reduces the chance of this happening.
It's usually as well, if the stronger you are, the more flexible you are. Stronger, I'm not talking about bulky here or being big, right? Because you're going to say, oh, big guys in the gym are not as flexible. They are not the strongest in the gym either. Sometimes bulk or big mass doesn't mean that they are the most flexible. So, but in general, if the more strength you have in certain muscles, the more flexibility that you have. So, yeah, I've been strengthening my feet since I realized I could do that. I was like, I can hurt them because I have flat feet, actually. And I use also a very, very, very at the beginning of my running, I had a very good podiatrist that advised me to get some insoles with like a middle arc. And that helped me a lot. I used them for a while until my kind of foot corrected a little bit, because I am a very pronated athlete. So my feet will go inwards, more so the right one will go in. And how can you see this? In your trainers, you can just look at the sole of your shoes and see the wear of your shoes, and then you're going to see how you're striking more what part of your
Well, that's really
foot.
interesting, because I'm going to finish off on a point, right, which ties it all up, and it's almost exactly what you've just said there, which is good. But next one is bone density. So studies have shown that while you might be an extreme long distance runner or run daily, this has absolutely no impact on any bones above the hips. This is down to the fact that your hips act like a final shock absorber when running. Therefore, upper body strength is a must for, in particular, your core and your back.
Yep. I mean, you guys know by this point that I am a big advocate of strengthening, right? And yeah, obviously upper, all the body, because running is not only the legs. Yeah. Clearly now it's feet as well, very important, and more so also upper body. Yeah.
But I was quite interested to read, because I don't know why I thought that by running it would be almost like a full body exercise, because if you think about it, you're completely in motion when you're running, aren't you? So you've got everything moving, your arms are moving, you're like your back, you're keeping yourself strong, your core has to be good. It almost affects even your neck, I think, because sometimes you can run with your head
you
down,
find yourself looking down.
So it was interesting for me that it's factually correct that nothing is affected above the hips, because the way that your hips are positioned and designed, it's that final shock absorber.
But I will still work out my back and my upper, obviously, because you have to carry that weight, and more so the longer the distance is. It was funny because when my mom did her first half marathon a couple of years ago, I remember like halfway through it, she was like, oh, my legs are fine, it's just my arms. I can't, like, she was so sore in her arms.
Used to be in that position.
Exactly. And being in that position and having to carry that, the other kind of like that half of your body. So yeah, very important, obviously. And if you do trail running as well, you carry a fair amount of things in your hydration pack. I mean, maybe not the self-supported 10 kilo bag, but you do carry, you know, your jacket usually, or your food even. So that is one, and even the water, even just water is 1 kilo, let's say 2 or 700 mils. So it's important to have that part strong, because you're going to be carrying a little bit. And then the problem is that you carry it for many hours. Maybe for 2-3 is fine, but if you're carrying it for 10-12 hours, every gram definitely starts counting.
But the next point on that section is the fact that that is why you need to look after your hip flexors more. Why you need to look after your hips in general, because they're the final part of impact when you're running. That again, and there's a common theme here, that you should do stretches and exercises to support your hips and your hip flexors. Yeah.
That's one of the things that I think I've noticed when I started running these races, and more so because in the sand, those hip flexors are definitely put even in more stress than pavement, because the sand is like a very uneven and it's very soft. So you think you're like going to press and have that power back, but actually you sink more.
Yeah.
So that is definitely, there was a lot of injuries in that. And then even after the race, that's one of the parts of my body that I can feel it more.
And it's something that I see you doing now. I never used to see you doing it. You're in the gym now with the bands doing strange movements.
Yep. Yeah, monster walks, sidewalk, Copenhagen planks,
you're moving
very
a plate
good
as well around with your feet.
Yeah, because I realized, not that I had a weak, but maybe there was a weak link there, and I told my wonderful coach Sarah that was a little bit when I feel it when I sat down and then stand up. I could feel like a pull there. So she sent me a lot of good exercises strengthening that. So, but we mentioned a couple of weak links for, or cues that you can, start checking if you see any of those. Don't ignore any pain, please. Because I've got a lot of athletes that they're like, oh, my feet is cramped. It's fine. Maybe I'll just change the shoe and that's fine. The shoe is not the problem. The problem is that your feet are weak. Let's sort that out before you start buying 10,000 shoes, thinking that the shoe is a problem. 70% of the time, it's your foot. And that's not going to change with the trainer.
Well, talking about your knees next.
That's another one.
The biggest knee problem runners face is called?
Oh, the patella.
No way, you got that.
Yes.
It's called patellofemoral
Look at that.
pain syndrome, alternatively known as
I don't know.
runner's knee.
Oh, that's not a medical name. That's why I don't know.
It's called runner's. That's why I don't know. I bet, yeah. So this condition involves pain around the kneecap due to the misalignment or poor tracking of the patella, often caused by muscle imbalances, weak hips, or overuse. Preventative measures include strengthening the quads, glutes and hips, maintaining flexibility in the hamstrings and calves, and using supportive equipment to do that as well.
Yeah.
It has also been proven that ensuring you have properly fitted running shoes greatly decreases the chance of having runner's knee.
Yeah. And I want you guys to realize something in all these issues or problems, potential problems that running can do. None of them talk about the technique of running. That nothing has to do with it. And although it is very important to watch your technique, and yes, maybe have a little bit of time and look on that, it's not going to be, usually that is not the problem. The problem is a weak link in your body. So if you strengthen, your path and mechanics are going to change. So if you're stronger, your mechanics, your running mechanics are going to change. I'll give you an example because it happened to me. I was trying to do mechanics, right? My running coach, or when I tried to another running coach, they were trying to ask me to lift my knee up because they were like, running, you need to, to lift your knee. And I remember I repeated that 100 times and I just couldn't. Like, it was something that it was not in me. I would get tired. And then I changed it for a strengthening coach that I just started to do overall strength. And later on, I realized that my knee was getting higher. But it was not because I was practicing the running technique. It was because I got stronger. So I think, I hope that makes sense. Yeah. So even your posture as well when running and everything. So don't put over attention. Yes, a little bit, but I would put the priority into strengthening, because if you have a strong body, everything else will fall into place. So, and again, after that, then you can realize, okay, let's go and check my technique. Then let's check the trainers, right? So let's try not to put a patch into things, like really assess where is the root of the problem, or the root of where it's all this coming.
I'm actually quite glad, and I don't know for any of the listeners out there as well, that I looked at this. Yeah. Because do you know what? See, now I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to actually do strength training with my feet because I'm picking up more miles now, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm actually
and it's going to do cumulative as well.
Yeah. I'm going to look after, I'm going to do a bit of strength in my feet. I'm going to do that work because I don't want to get that. From a bone density as well, when we were talking about the hip side of things, I think I'm going to start doing some exercises because there's a few clicks I hear down there now.
Yeah.
And that is obviously a considerably big problem as well. And like I said, I felt that twinge the other day in my knee. I think for me now, I'm going to have a look at that running style and do some of those exercises to try. I mean, listen, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. But what you can do is you can greatly reduce the chance.
Not inevitable.
No, but it seems to happen with everybody at some stage over the course of that.
I haven't been injured in 9 years.
Yeah, but you click and you've got hip flexor problems and all that.
Oh, yeah, but it's not like injury.
Yeah,
Like, it hasn't put me out.
No, we're not talking about putting you out. We're talking about causing you an inconvenience
Yeah,
or pain.
yeah.
If you can try and remove that, then I think that's good. And also, I think that, well, you said about
It's
the trainer thing.
preventative.
That
Always prevent.
See the trainer thing. I think that although I never done it, I think in everything that I've read in the months, I would suggest to everybody to go to a proper running store and get their running style checked. Because I think too many people out there now buy shoes that don't necessarily fit them or don't fit their style right.
Well, no, but
and they cause a problem with your feet or your knee.
But go and
ankle.
check a podiatrist first.
Yeah,
Remember,
100%.
not a running shoe, because they're going to want to sell you the most expensive shoes. So usually the running store, it's great if you know already what you're looking for. If not, go to a podiatrist or a physiotherapist, I think it was.
Yep.
Just check our episode about buying running shoes.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
this
finding your soulmate, we call that. It is back in the first season. So yeah, really good. We had a specialist there talking about how to choose your shoes, and that's what he was saying. So yeah, excellent information for today.
I even loved that myself, and I actually enjoyed that.
Yeah, because now that you're running more, you're going to start getting these problems. And the important thing is to prevent them with information. Yeah. And again, if you feel like a little tweak or something, just right away assess it. Don't think it's going to pass or just need better gear. You just need to first assess. And usually the king of all kings is strength.
But quite interestingly, like we were saying, how it ties up with what you're talking about and what I'm doing with the facts is that it's almost like people don't really bother about it. And I think that not a lot of people have those bits of information. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you can do the preventative side of it, like I was saying,
you can run
whether you're experienced or not, because not every experienced runner's out there doing feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like doing strength and
definitely.
feet work.
I know a lot of people that I've told them about my feet strengthening. They're like, what? I've never done that. So it's, if you want to be a long time runner, you want to be out there for all your life and you're just not, seasoned and you just want to like really, really do it forever, you need to take care of those little details. So yeah, and we're going to continue with this is the most exciting day, the long stage.
I always love the long march.
I used to until
I think I love it because I know like you're going to be in pain and you're going to have a tough day. Although
you like it because I am suffering.
Although normally
unbelievable.
That is your favourite. It's your favourite distance. You love getting out there. You love doing nighttime.
Yes, I usually love it. Love this distance. But this time, like I mentioned, I had some problems with my trainers. My feet were in a lot of pain. I was trying to stretch them, all that beautiful things. But my feet were already very, 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 very sore. I've walked 4 marathons in really, really tough conditions by this time. And I went to bed that day not knowing how I was going to face 90 kilometers the next day, to be honest. And it's very weird because I usually, like you said, I'm excited. I have a plan in my head. Like I'm looking forward to it. But this time I was not mentally ready. It was going to be very, very, very long. Also because it was not, usually this stage is 80 kilometers. This time was 90 kilometers. So
what was the reason for that?
Because we were doing only 40 kilometers the days before, when in the other ones we were used to doing like 35, 45,
or so
like a little bit over every day over the 4 days. So at the day 5, you would do only 80 to click the 250. But this time, 90 kilometers. And it's hard. Like already 90 kilometers it's a tough day out just by itself. Now imagine coming back from 4 back-to-back marathons, So I got a little bit mad again because I usually love this day and I wasn't going to be having that fun day out that I wanted.
Was that the mood you woke up in? Was it?
Yeah, I was like very annoyed because again, I usually like it and I wasn't. So, but I really I had a couple of seconds to like, after my tantrum to refocus, because I'm like, there's no time for this. Like, I can't do anything. This is what I've got, and I need to work through it. So ready or not, the clock keeps ticking. So I needed to move forward. That's the other thing. You wake up and you need to, sort your own breakfast, put all your gear. My shorts, my shirt, all my gear was already like so salty, so gross. There's sand everywhere. Trying to brush your teeth, like just get all that sorted before the time is, it's quite nerve-wracking.
What is the mood in the camp like on the long march day, and especially on that one? Because even though 10 kilometers doesn't sound much, it's a lot of your brand 80. Do you know what I mean?
It's a lot.
So what's the mood in the camp like? In the
they were okay. I think I can't even remember. I think everyone was a little bit like. There was a couple of people that were excited. Some of them were really nervous because these may be the longest day they're going to face in their lives.
Yeah,
most of them, to be honest. So yeah, there was also another people that have done the other races, but like I said, the other races were 80 kilometers. Mm-hmm. So this was 90. So this was the longest day they would face in the whole series, or even before. Like they've never done this distance
and that's
before.
what I'm saying. I mean, it doesn't sound a lot, 10 kilometers.
No,
but
it's a
massive,
lot. And I'll tell you what happened to me. That was the longest 10 kilometers of my life. But ready or not, here we go. I had zero idea when I started running, or the clock started. I had no idea how I was going to tackle it. Like I said, I usually have a rough plan or an idea, but I couldn't get my head around how I was going to break the distance to make it, work. So I just knew I had to work with the pain of my feet and just gonna have to be patient and work around it. So I had no plan. I was just like, whenever I feel pain or whatever is really unbearable, I'm gonna have to take a break in a checkpoint and just kind of like go with the flow of the day and how my feet kind of, just work with them however they feel. I would, and my really only plan was to survive. That was definitely, I was like, we will survive this one and we will solve on the go pretty much. So the first 20 kilometers were inside a beautiful, beautiful canyon. So it was shaded, which it was wonderful because the early morning race, it's like that sunshine that bites you. It's really, really strong.
Yeah, it's quite harsh.
Yeah, it's like the first rays of light.
We kind of experienced that in Alula, didn't we?
Yeah. In the morning, and then it starts kind of taming down, and then obviously it goes sunset. But the ones in the morning are just like, killer ones.
Okay. So, you've said that, I've got this vision of the sun coming and biting you.
It was, biting as well, because everyone was really burned at this point. And so if your skin was burned already, you will feel the sun and it will burn you. Like it feels like a biting pain. Yeah. So that's how I felt. That's why it's like I remember like a biting pain, because I was so burned. Behind my knees, everyone was burned. Like there was skin falling off from people.
It sounds like a horror movie.
I know. My skin was falling off behind my knees. So 20 kilometers inside a beautiful canyon. Again, it was nice because there was inside the canyon, so there was like shade. The only bad thing, it was like very stony. So yeah, that was not great for my feet.
Stone,
oh my God. Every step was like agony. It was just like someone stabbing me in my feet. But I had a friend there. Christina walked with me most of the time. We were walking together, which was great because if you remember right, I think I talked about her in the MIF in one of the episodes. Yep. I walked with her through one of the hottest days in the MIF. And so it was great to catch up with her and see what was happening, how was everything going. And then after that, we went through a very long exposed stretch. I think it was like a good 10, 15 kilometers. And the heat was just like brutal. Like by that point, the sun was in full swing. There was a little bit of shaded areas, like where the stones, like big rocks. So they will have like a tiny shaded area. And, I'll remember we walk in and I will turn around and there will be people literally in the rocks, like just as close as the rock, just to get a little bit of shade. There's actually I'll put a couple of pictures there for you guys to watch in YouTube. But there's people just sitting down in the tiny piece of shade that you can find. They were just there and I will pass them and then they will pass me again, because I was going very slow. So I didn't have that luxury of I knew I couldn't do that because I was going fairly slow.
So this is you out of the canyons.
Yeah.
You're walking in sort of open desert, I guess, with rocks dotted about, just so I've got it in my head. And so is it, what's the ground like at this point? Is it sand, soft
It's
sand,
sand.
hard packed sand?
It starts sandy over there. Sand and a couple of rocks. Not as rocky as the canyon because we're out of the canyon. There's still big rocks though. Like, Jordan. Well, if you haven't seen it, you will still have, it's very different from Namib. Namib is definitely like there is nothing to be seen. The beauty of Jordan is that there is so many beautiful rock formations scattered around the desert. And there was, again, big formations just scattered there that will give you a tiny bit of shade if, in certain areas.
I have a question. This has been bothering me
Oh my God.
for since the first episode of this series.
Oh, just.
Is that, see with your trainers, and while I understand that the sponge had kind of gone, so you weren't getting the return on them that you would get as you would normally get, yeah?
Yeah, there was no cushion.
No cushion, so you're not getting any return. So see if you're walking
Apart from return, it's just nothing to land on.
Okay. Listen.
Okay.
And you're walking on sand. Sand to me is always soft, pretty much. Apart from hard packed stuff and apart from stuff's good. You know what I mean? Does that not give you a bit of a reprieve when you're walking on sand?
Yeah,
because
you're
not hitting the ground hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're actually, You're actually
it's a little bit
walking
better,
on
definitely.
kinda, not quite air, but you know what I mean?
Like I said, the episode before, when I hit a little bit of tarmac and a little bit of hard ground, oh my God, that was way much more painful. So yeah, maybe it was helping a little bit. That was soft ground, definitely. Yeah. But that was just the bit that was soft ground. After that, it will disappear. So
see, proportionately, so I understand. How much was actually desert sand running, and how much
in this day or
on this
overall?
Day? Well, we'll use this day as an example because obviously it's a longer day.
I think it was just at the beginning, just this little bit. There was not a lot of sand.
So there wasn't a lot of sand in this one?
No, not in this one.
Right, okay.
It was
and in
a lot of
days,
rocky.
There was a lot of sand?
A lot of sand, yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah. So I've got it in my head now. So you were... Because you
so terrain changes, a lot.
So you've got the previous days where it was a bit of a mix of rock and sand. So you were in pain with the amount of rock and stuff like that you're walking over, but you had a bit of reprieve from sand. But this day, it's a different ballgame.
Every day is almost different. Yeah.
Right. Because this day seems predominantly a bit more you're running on like stone or the rocky areas.
Yeah,
and
the
stuff
canyon.
like that.
And then later on, you will see we're going into the town. Obviously, you start coming into because we're getting close to the end, right?
Right, okay.
So
paints the picture of how much paint you're in.
Oh my God! Why do you love? You're loving this.
I never used to. This is your fault. This is your fault. You've got me like this.
Oh God. Yeah, in a lot of pain. But you know what? I think what you said, the sand bit helped a little bit, and I knew there was going to be a grueling section later on, so I was just kind of waiting for that. And after that, after we came out from this sandy bed, I started seeing an uphill, and the sun started to come out. That you can start feeling how the sun starts leaving, and I was actually very happy. I was actually even celebrating with some of the other runners because I was like, "This is the last time we're gonna feel this heat," because after sunset, that's it. Next, we're gonna start walking in the night, and that's it. That's us done forever. I'm not gonna feel the heat anymore. I was mentally ready. Yeah, that's what I did. A celebration dance. I was just survive this day. You will never have to feel the heat again. That's it. Just survive this. So it was great. And I was so happy. And at the end of the canyon, I looked up to see this immense climb. And there was tiny people going up. And I was like,
and this was rocky, was it?
Kidding me. It was a path, but it was a dirt road. A dirt road. That's a word, dirt road, because you can drive there was like cars. Like
Right, okay.
there was no cars.
Yeah,
like
that- you
you
could pass through it.
pass with
Yeah,
a car.
yeah.
So I see people going up. So I was like, this is not real. But I knew there was a 30 kilometer climb. So that was the start.
30-kilometer climb. What?
I seen it in the elevation map. So I knew, everyone knew that there was and seriously, when we see the elevation map, we were like, is this a joke? Like, there has to be a printing error for sure. How does that 30-kilometer climb looks like?
I think Racing the Planet, I've looked around the planet and
see-
just said, where can we really test these people?
I
Where can we
was
put them
thinking
through
that.
so much
Actually,
pain?
I have a video of me saying that, recording that. I was like, how I bet people just like, it's not brutal enough to put us 4 days in that brutal terrain, heat and all that. And imagine they're like, oh, you know what? 30-kilometer climb. Yes, why not? They haven't suffered enough.
That's almost as long, right, as some of the days that you've done.
Yeah.
Just
And it was all
with them.
uphill. So I knew it. I knew it was
Reason
coming.
number 1744 why I'm not becoming an ultra runner.
So mentally, I knew it was coming. So it was a relentless climb. But thank God I started climbing that right when sunset started. So that was around 5:36, I would imagine. I rested there for a bit and I started to climb pretty much all night. The good thing is I had company. I picked a guy in New Zealand there. Is that New Zealand there?
New Zealander?
Yeah.
Okay, because I do not know what you
Sounds
said
like Sulan there.
I was like getting a bit confused.
People tell us I don't know. Well,
New
from New
Zealander.
Zealand. Yeah, you get it. Simon, rock star, hero. He was struggling. I was struggling. Let's go to the pain cave. Let's take the struggle bus together. Because why not? And just started talking and chatting and walking together all night. It was great. To be honest, it's so good to just have some company. I wanted company because I was going so slow and it was so painful.
Needed to fill the time better.
Yeah. I think it was like 10 hours of climbing. So we've seen everything in those 10 hours of climbing. We've seen I passed people sitting down in the rocks, crying. And there was like this, I'm not sure if it was, I don't want to say, it was another runner, because I don't know if it's an Asian runner. I can't remember from where exactly. But it was already middle of the night, probably. Maybe 1 a.m. No. Before midnight, because I arrived to the checkpoint at midnight. So before midnight, and there was this Asian guy in this rock, I remember, an older man crying his eyes out, saying that he couldn't move anymore. He didn't want to do it anymore. And you could see the desperation in his eyes. And it's just like a surreal, view of, in the middle of nowhere. And obviously we're trying to help him. And he's like, that's fine. I already pressed the SOS button. So, a band's coming for me. And like I said, it was a dirt road you could drive. So there was bands coming up and down the whole climb with people on them. And obviously asking us, are you guys okay? They will drive past us and you will like pick in the car or even in the truck, because it was like a tiny truck, one of those 4x4 trucks. And there was runners in the back all night long, like going up and down. And it was like almost like a war scene,
war zone,
Yeah, it was, It's one of those scenes that I will, it would give me the chills when I remember it. And in one of those, I remember I looked in and it was like a couple of my friends, Keith, I remember. You remember him from Gobi, because he helped me from the hotel when I had the hotel problem.
Yeah.
And I looked in and Keith was there. And I was like, Keith, what are you doing inside the car? A stupid question. And he looked so like, sad and just, apart from the people that were taken, they're sad and, It's just beaten.
It's a big decision for people to do it, I think. Do you know what I mean? Especially
Aye, of
from
course.
what you've told me, Keith.
To make that decision.
He's an experienced runner.
Yeah,
do you know
as
what I mean?
well.
And knows what he's doing.
It's not his first one,
and he is definitely not going into that thinking that he's going
I
to
don't
fail.
think
Do you know what I mean? It's
anyone, like I said, I think nobody goes into any race thinking, I'm going to quit. So when people pull out, it's
a big decision for
it
him.
is my heart breaks. So I know how difficult it is, and it was like a worse. But having company definitely helped me to keep off my mind away from the pain. Plus, I was in like some serious painkillers at that point. I was flying, but I was still feeling
pain. Cave was bouncing.
My pain cave was real, but I could still feel the pain.
Yeah,
like I had some
painkillers.
real painkillers, people, and I could feel them.
Mexican painkillers. I mean,
Yeah, there's like some serious drugs, and I could still feel a lot of pain. So imagine, like, I can imagine how much was the real pain without being, without the pills. Anyway, around, I would want to say maybe 11, I don't know, I do remember very well, 11:20 p.m. because I looked at my watch. We arrived to the middle checkpoint because which is like around 60-ish kilometers. And still climbing, still in the middle of the climb. And this point has hot water and a tent for people to sleep in. So that was like, you want to get there. You want to get there because it's like, at least you're going to have a good meal.
like a little refuge.
It's a big checkpoint. Like you can, exactly. And I usually don't stop again for much in that checkpoint. Usually I like to take on some souls in there because people would usually eat and sleep there. And that's when I,
Your chance to
sprint off.
progress.
Yeah. But again, I couldn't. I knew I had 30 kilometers to go from there. So we still have 30 kilometers to go. And so I make a quick math in my head. So
Runner's math, love it.
Runner's math. My head started to make a plan because I'm like, hold on, I think we can actually make this. We're surviving it. We're making it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to stay until 12:30, like midnight. And that will give me 7 to 8 hours before sunrise.
7 to 8, not 7 to 8. Just to be clear.
7 till 8.
Yeah. So like 7 to 8. I'm like,
Oh, no, 7 to 8. So 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sorry, 8 a.m. where the sun rise
it's starting to come up.
to cover 30 kilometers that I'm left. So I was like, oh, that's plenty of time to cover those 30 kilometers in the shade with no sun. So, that's great. Like, let's do that. There's enough time. Let's do that. So I stayed there for 11:20 to 12:30. So that was a good hour. I took my sleeping bag off my bag, which I never do, and had a meal and just closed my eyes, put my feet up. And there was a lot of people there. Again, you can hear them coming in and leaving. And it was nice. Funny enough, there was a couple of people that walked in, put their head down, and you can hear so many snores and so many other noises, but more so snores. And I was like, how can they sleep so fast? They would walk in, like lay down and
because they're so knackered.
Full on. Like I was like, I can't do that. Like there is no way I can sleep. But I just, closed my eyes. I told Simon my plan, and he said, "Oh, I'll do the same. Just let me know, and we will head out together again." So it was great. It was good. We both laid down, and we just closed out for the next hour. I did feel a little bit of relief after that in my feet as well, and that's it. 12:30, time to gear it up again and keep
marching
climbing.
on the long march.
Keep climbing. We still climbing up, man. Like that. Those climbs were never ending. And they were getting worse and worse and worse every time. Like we seriously, a couple of times we were like, we're not going up there, are we? Because you can only see shades by that point because it's very dark. You're in the middle of the desert climbing these mountains and you don't see anything apart from like tiny dots moving, right? At this point we have red lights, like red blinking lights in our backpacks. So all you can see at very long distance, twinkling lights, and that's other runners, right? And we were like, we're certainly not going up there. Like you can see the lights so high up. Yeah.
Question. Interesting you said that.
Yeah.
Because my next question is
Okay.
that we are 30 kilometre incline,
No.
right? You're going, it's not obviously up all the time. It must be up and a wee bit down, up and a wee bit down. It's a hill area, right?
It was
But
up all the time.
But when you get to the top of that, with the distance you've got left to do, it must be a very sharp decline.
There is none. Well, there is a little bit in the last 2 kilometers, yeah.
But was that quite sharp? Was that
Very sharp,
a bit
yeah.
of a drop?
A little bit.
Aye.
But still, we're still climbing and there is no rest. Like, it's not undulating, people. Like, don't think it's like, oh, going up and down, up. There's no downs. It's up, maybe a little flat, and then up, little flat, but there was no downs. There's no down in this whole, I've been climbing up for over 10 hours at this point. All the way up. And like I said, and it was just getting worse and worse. It was like a decent incline until these times were starting to get like really steep. We were at some point like hands and knees climbing up. And it was like sand or mud. It was like a cliff at some point. And Simon and I were like, is this the right way? We were like a couple of times just like asking ourselves, and the flags were there, the pink flags. I mean, yes, this is the way. We were alone.
There was the person that put the pink flags up.
Exactly. What if someone took them away and like, this is not possible. We were asking ourselves so many times if that was the right way, because that seemed unreal.
The person doing the flag should have got a medal.
Yeah. I think at that point I got so surprised that my body was kept moving, to be honest. Mine and everybody's, because what we went through all week and then just be doing that, I was just amazed in that moment how our bodies were able to stand that brutality and the accumulative fatigue and then just face that day. I think that day, like that 90 kilometer, I was saying, it could be a brutal race by itself. Like just that 90 kilometer, people would pay to go to just do that one day. It was brutal. So yeah, like I was just amazed. It was incredible that everyone kept everybody is still half dead, but we're kept moving. We're moving, and we kept walking. The moon, I remember, was so big. I remember I thought it was one of those lights from the street, but it was not a light from the street. It was the moon.
Were you hallucinating?
I don't know, but I thought it was like a big light, and I was like, that's a very like bright lamp. And then I was like, oh no. Simon said, that's the moon. I was like, oh yeah, that's the moon at the distance. But it was so beautiful, like full, big. I hope I could have taken my phone out, but I was so done, people. I didn't want to do anything anymore. I was just walking and, taking the phone, taking the camera. It takes a lot from you, seriously. So the night's my favorite. And then I picked Angie in one of those checkpoints. And on the way, and you remember her, we had her in the show, the episode, one of the stories from the deserts, where I interviewed a couple of the racers that I've shared the deserts with. And Angie is one of them. She told a story that she's never done anything like this, and Gobi was her first race ever.
Wild.
And this was her second race ever.
Even
this
more
was his longest, clearly, day out, like I said. And she was doing this after a back-to-back 4 marathons. Absolutely incredible. And just to put it in perspective, she was in front of me because I catch her. I had to catch her. So she was in one of those checkpoints. She was already there when I got there with Simon. And the three of us, took away and started walking for a little while after that. We passed a beautiful wind farm, which is quite scary in the middle of the night, to be honest, like 2, 3 in the morning. And it was like these like massive wind turbines, and the noise they make is quite, funky. But we started entering the town and some villages on the side, which was beautiful as well, like just seeing the town lights. And all pitch black, and obviously everything was so quiet, and it was just, and you're like around in the mountains, just seeing the town underneath you. It was a very, very nice view. And Angie and I kept going because Simon decided to leave us, so it was good farewell. He just started to trot on, and I was having some digestive issues at that point, so I was stopping a lot, and I think Simon got off of it, and he's like, I'm just gonna go, and I was like, it's fine. And yeah, and Angie was waiting for me, so it was good. And then until she decided to say, you know what, just keep going, I'm gonna, stay back a little bit. So I start just to walk for a couple of hours on my own at that point, which it was beautiful again. I think then it was around 5 or 6 a.m. There was the prayer of this town starting. That's why I know it's like 5 or 6 a.m., the first prayer of the day. And that was such a surreal moment for me, because it was like, it was not sunrise yet, but you can start seeing kind of like the background, like reddish. You can start see like sunrise coming, and then this background prayer, and in this such like a peaceful place. It was like a really nice moment.
Yeah, it's something, it's maybe going off topic a wee bit, and we live in a Arabic Muslim country. Is that I remember the first time that we went to Morocco.
Morocco,
yeah, we went to a Muslim country, and there's something so beautiful about like
so relaxing.
We actually
isn't
got
it?
up. We were up early in the morning getting breakfast, and the call to prayer was on. The sun was coming up. And it's just something really nice about it. So I can totally imagine what it would be like.
I've always
being
tell
out
you
there
that
doing
that prayer relaxes me. I don't understand what they're saying, but I just I just feel peace. And it's quite peaceful.
Yeah.
So it was a cool moment I had out there in the trail. And then I was coming up a hill, and then there was like these street dogs around.
Oh, you hate a wee street dog, don't you?
Exactly. So I was like, they were like on top of the hill. Again, we were still climbing, but there was this stop, and I was like, they were like there just like staring at me. And I was like, I'm not, no.
They're like, that isn't enough meat on her.
No, it's not happening. So I waited for Angie in there. I was like, I'm not. I turned around. She wasn't too far. So I was like, I'm just going to wait. Like, if they're going to eat me, they're going to have to fight us, the two of us. I had no much energy left for the fight. So I waited for Angie, and then she was so good with the dogs though. She was like, all right, guys, hello, move along. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to eat us.
You have got a real fear of street dogs.
Pure panicking. Yeah. And but she was like, it's okay. This is trying to be all nice to them. I was like, don't talk to them. Don't talk. I was panicking. But anyway, that way I waited for her. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to stick together now. It's fine. And then we hit to the last checkpoint, last 10K to go. And the sunrise was starting to come out, guys. This was not what we planned. This is not what we planned, because I did not want it to fight in the sun again.
So is this your last 10K coming up then?
Yeah.
Right,
I'm in kilometer 80, and again, sunrise, I can start feeling the sun coming out. So I knew I was going to have to fight the last 10 kilometers in the sun. And again, like I said, so that means that it took me 20 kilometers, 8 hours. The last 20 kilometers took me 8 hours. It was just brutal, people. I'm just remembering, I'm going to cry.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. That would be...
Anyway.
I mean, to be fair, you're not painting a good picture of these ultra runs, are you?
I'm not selling it to you.
You're not selling it to me at all.
You know what? This is just for everyone that wants to do it, or they're going to do it. You know, I wish that someone had told me about this. I would have been more mentally prepared, though, at least. But there's none. You can read blogs, but it's not the same as someone literally talking to you and telling you and kind of, remembering.
But on the
it
flip
with
side,
you.
some people love that pain and that challenge.
I love it. Exactly.
Weirdo.
So we decided to stay together. So we tackled the last day. It was going to be really brutal. That was not the plan. Like I said, I wasn't ready mentally to fight another morning and another good 4 hours of that heat, to be honest. And it was full swing, like I said. I think the morning rays are the worst because it's very stingy, and more so after walking. For by that time, I've been walking over 23 hours. So
I think the sweat has an impact in that as well. Because
yeah,
you'll be
my skin was
salty
very
and all that, and
my
you'll be
skin
dry
was
skin and
very
stuff.
even before, like I said, I got a sunburn behind my knees already. So like you said, the salt, and then you start sweating again because it's obviously heat, and it's very 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 painful. Just all the like the rubs that you have in your body, every
itches,
little
scratches.
scratches, every little burn, it just that pain as well. But I was like, okay, we have 10 kilometers. I'm suffering really bad. I was like, if I wanted to give up, that was the moment it crossed my mind. But then it was a little bit stupid because we have 10 kilometers to go. I cannot give up right now, can you? So there was not really, is that like desperation, kind of thing? Like I want to quit, but I cannot quit really. Like we have 10 kilometers to go. Like how stupid would that be? If the idea of quitting came across the race, I think that was the moment that I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Like, but I felt strong in the whole race. Well, not strong, but like, okay, I can solve this until those 10K. I think those last 10K definitely took a lot from me. But thank God there was another soul with me battling as well. And there were more climbs and more climbs and more climbs. Now it's even worse because it's in tarmac. We are starting to get into the town. So it's roads, proper roads. And actually there was a point where we look up and there is this like road, seriously, an incline so steep. And we're like, that is not the way. Like it can't be that way again. And it was that way. So she was a volunteer before she started racing, like she told us. So she had the phone number of the volunteers. So she called them and say, hey guys, I'm here in this intersection. Is this the right way to go? Because we couldn't see any flags. And I was definitely not going to go and then be like, that's not the way. Like I'm not wasting a step. So, and the volunteers, one of them answered, and yeah, that was up that way. We were shocked, to be honest. I think that was kilometer 5. Like we have 5 kilometers to go, and there was the steepest hill in the pavement, and we were running very low in water as well because again, it's very hot. So now that we had the volunteer on the phone, we're like, can you send someone with water because I don't think I'm going to survive that uphill I think I had half a bottle left. And we'll send someone. And then later on, like 10, 15 minutes, there was a van coming to save us, just to pour some water and just to finish the last 5K.
We've been blessed enough to be in that area, so I know exactly where you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because actually it's a little bit windy as well, and it goes
Yeah,
round
yeah.
the town and goes up.
Yeah, I'm
It's
very,
mental, yeah, I
very up.
remember, yeah.
And I was seriously having a mental breakdown. But yeah, the race was really good. They saved us. They gave us a little bit more water. And I think my feet were so numb, or maybe I was just excited that there was like 2 or 3 kilometers left. And yeah, the pain disappeared a little bit of my feet. I think I was or maybe I had so much drugs on me at that point as well. Or I was very focused in not passing out because the heat. I was just, yeah. So those 2 kilometers was harder than the whole entire race, to be honest. And yeah, like I said, the last 20 kilometers took me around 7-8 hours. Just absolutely insane. So yeah, after 20 something hours, sorry, I forgot. I think 26 hours, I made it to the camp. We crossed the line, Angie and I, hand in hand. I even got a little bit emotional because I was like, I think I really battled a lot those last 10K. I was fine until those last 10K, seriously. But that was a ride. What a day, seriously. Day and a little bit. It was from not being ready in the morning to have, I didn't have another choice when I started. And so the only thing I had is the confidence that I will solve it, whatever happened in the day. And I think that's what made me obviously start on that start line and just go for it. And I think doing these things and realizing that you can actually solve it gives you the confidence and makes you gain confidence on yourself. And it's not like I haven't failed many times. I mean, I failed multiple 100-milers, for example, and I failed, and that's why I know it was not a lack of fitness that I failed. It was a lack of will and a lack of being able to solve it. And sometimes we wait to be ready. Like that day, for example, I couldn't wait. First of all, I didn't have the time to be ready. Or in life, you're like, oh, I'm going to wait to be ready to run this race, or I'm going to do it until I feel ready. Maybe or they take the steps, you want to do the 10K first, and then the half marathon, and then the marathon, because I want to be an ultra runner. If your dream is to do an ultra marathon, for example, why not shoot for it right away?
Oh, that's a big statement. That is a big statement.
Yeah.
Because I thought
tell you
we
what,
put this flip-flopping. Can you not do it to
I
bed?
have the answer for that flip-flopping, by the way. That's
Right,
where I'm
okay.
getting. Because Angie, the girl that we interviewed and the one that I shared these miles with, Jasmine as well, and many people that I've known, that I've talked to and met in this beautiful journey, they have succeeded doing that. And they didn't wait to be ready. They didn't take baby steps. They just went in, dive in, and just had the confidence that they will be able to solve it. And some succeeded, maybe some didn't, but why not test it? And I'm not talking about testing your fitness. It's not about fitness anymore, but testing your mental strength and testing your ability to solve in that problem, in that moment, the problems as they come. And going back to the question that we asked, or you asked me, does anyone can do this? I think I go back to that question. I think it's a yes. That's going to be my final answer.
Are you
Yes.
sure?
Yes. You just need a basic fitness level and the will to test your mental skills and problem solving. Great. If you have that, I think you why not go in right away? Like, why wait to be ready, or why take baby steps? Like, why just don't dive in right away? It's a question for you.
I think that it's not about a readiness to do it. It's about a will to want to do it. Mm-hmm. So, for example...
So you're giving me, I'm right. It's not about fitness. It's about the will.
I'm saying that if you want... At the moment, for example, I'm not really interested in doing ultras, so I don't have the want or the will to do it,
exactly.
right?
But you don't want to.
It's not that it doesn't interest me, because I find it very interesting. I find the elements of the ultra run and what people go through and their mental agility, I'll call it,
Yeah.
is really, really interesting, which is why I said this to you the other day, is why I find what you do a bit of an inspiration. So I think that's a separate category.
Yeah.
And then there's the people that maybe want to do it.
Yeah.
But what they do is they think, I want to build up to it.
Yeah.
And then there's the people that just wake up one day and say, I'm going to do an ultra.
So if you're one of the...
There's different categories.
Yeah. But if you're one of the people that are like, I am going to work towards it, I'm going to start doing a 10, but you ultimately want to do an ultramarathon. That's what's me, for example. I said, I want to do it. I think it looks awesome. I want to be one of them. Just go for that. It's not about fitness at this point. It's just, if you have a basic fitness, you will be able to solve it.
I've got a very high hand up here because I think I've got a very serious point about this.
Common. Yes.
I disagree a bit.
Okay.
Because I think that you need to know yourself first of all before you venture into something like that. If you are a runner or if you are a new runner or whatever it may be, I think that you need to know yourself a little bit mentally. You need to know whether your legs and your body and your physicality is capable of doing something like that. So for a lot of people, or for some people, it'll be a case of they need the confidence to be able to do that. And the only way you're going to get the confidence is by understanding what you are and what some of your capabilities are. Not necessarily, I mean, these things are extreme. There is definitely going to be a leap that you have to make at some point to go and do it, which is absolutely fine.
Take
but
the
I
leap.
think there's still a proportionate part of, for a lot of people, I would be definitely one of them.
Because
I would need to understand.
But you don't want to do
first.
one. You're not intrigued. Like it's not your goal in life. There's people that really looking like they are working towards it. And yes, although this is a very extreme race that I'm talking about, there is certain, for example, this weekend, I'm going to do a 12-hour run. Yay! It's a loop event. I'm so excited because it is, obviously you can get lost. It is in the desert, but at least there's water, there's food. You are safe, and it's a great opportunity. You have a crew,
a pacer.
Wonderful crew, and it's an excellent way to test, like you were saying. And you don't need to take baby steps. Again, anyone can walk 12 hours and just see what you can do. And if you're saying that you need to know yourself, well, you have 12 hours to discover it. So definitely go for it. Risk a little bit. You need to risk it. Maybe again, not something so extreme. Although there's people that have done it and it's absolutely fine. You will find it. You will find it because I think that
these races, the one that you're going to do at the weekend, is a good opportunity for people to dip their toe into it.
Absolutely.
It's an amazing stepping stone.
That's what I'm saying.
The loop idea is great because what you can do is, because you can go for 12 hours and ultimately drop out whenever you want, right?
Yeah.
In whatever loop, you can go and sample it and say, do you know what? Actually, that is for me or not. Like, obviously, I'm going to pace you for a loop a bit later on in the game, right? And that for me will be like a wee test. It will be like for me to say, well, do you know what? Because I bet you, even though I'm of the mentality that I'm not going to be an ultra runner,
he's going to be one.
I'm going to come with you. I'll do a loop with you towards the end of the day to pace you and try and move you on a bit, right? I'll come back from that with a point of view, one way or the other. I'll come back from that with a point of view saying, do you know what? See, the next 12-hour loop, I'm going to do that. Or I'll come back and say, do you know what? I think I'm probably capable of doing outdoor ultra running. Or I'll turn around and say, do you know what? It's not for me.
All right, guys, let us know which one is your way of thinking. Obviously, do you are a little bit more like Andy, taking it slow and doing it, step by step? Or my way, go for it. Dive in. Have always attack it with love and curiosity, because again, when you start living with curiosity, life becomes a wonderful adventure and you can just surprise yourself. Again, what's the worst that can happen? That you don't finish the race, that you just do X amount. There's nothing, nothing bad can happen, and you can really test yourself. So if you are interested or thinking about doing this race or any ultra distance, just go for that. Don't think that you need to do the steps that everyone does. If you have a level of basic fitness and you have a strong mind, you will be able to conquer not only racing, but anything in life. So
I think it's a really good conversation.
Yeah. So let us know. It would be very interesting what people think, or most of the ultra runners or trail runners think.
I will add that you do it when you're comfortable, confident, and ready. Done. Done. I'm away for a cup of tea.
I would say, don't wait until you're ready. You're ready. Just do it.
Love it.
You're like, wait, think if you're ready.
It's not about thinking, it's about confidence.
You have the confidence, people. You have. Just jump. You will be fine. I promise. You'll be fine.
By the way, we'll put a disclaimer in also that if you do decide to do that and you go out and you hurt yourself, get injured, fall off a cliff, It is nothing to do with us.
It's nothing to do with it. You will solve it, I am sure.
What is it they say? This is purely for viewing and
Entertainment.
entertainment purposes.
Awesome, guys. It was so much fun today to share these grueling 90 kilometers. I hope I made a little bit of sense and motivate you in maybe knowing that humans and we are so powerful. Like I said, it was for me unbelievable that I kept me and the other 109 racers that finished the race were able to keep moving in such atrocity and extreme test, and that just shows that it's absolute. Our bodies are absolutely amazing, and
That I agree with.
yes, and you are the same. We are all made the same. So if you are a little curious, just go ahead, sign up, and let me know.
Disclaimer, remember, disclaimer.
And have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week. We're gonna still have. Oh, we didn't have Antarctica chat. We ran out of time, but keep your eyes peeled. Next 2 weeks, 3 weeks that we have left, it will be definitely all Antarctica chat because I know you all have a lot of questions.
Although I'm sure I'll have some funny stories from the weekend.
Oh yeah, plus the weekend. Oh my God, I'm so excited. But yeah, have a wonderful weekend and remember to keep doing whatever makes you ultra happy.